Good morning, this is Kara, and this is Uncovered No More, and it is June 28th of 2023. My Grumpy Cat calendar says, art doesn't inspire me, sleep does. The truth is, if you don't get a little downtime, with things like what I just did, I got to get in the sun, deep water some things, do some yoga in the yard, and eat yogurt and homemade granola, plan for a couple of days of food, and my kitties and I are content. I have things mapped out upstairs, all my poetry reading and everything. So it's going to be a glorious day, and I'm trying very hard to relate to people in a way that they are blessed. So I sent some text messages and ended up with a beautiful picture of our oak tree in the front yard with the sun coming through. So that was nice. Maybe that will go in this blog article. This is going on my new Uncovered No More Out Loud. It is for the chapter Nuts and Bolts from Uncovered No More Volume 3. The first chapter, I'm going to read them in order of where they come from the gospel record. I am not applying color. I'm going to do my best to discipline myself and simply read because it's 4 chapters. The first one is Hebrews 11. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. And then it is the by faith able and all of that. I'm going to skip all of that. You don't need that. It's been crammed up your ass for years if you were required to go to church, like I was since the age of 7. Verse 30. Hold on. Yes, I'm going to start at verse 24. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasure of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasure in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. I want you to pay attention to verse 26 while I just realized it. Esteeming the reproach of Christ. He knew the Christ was coming, he just didn't know when. And he behaved like as if he was on the earth. This is Moses. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. To most of the world, the king is still very invisible. So these words are something to think about. Are you staying in Egypt? Don't bitch slap me, because they've taught it in the Christian churches. But you know the parables, stories. You don't even have to think they're reality. They are legend anyway. And what are we supposed to do with legend? Learn from it. I personally have had a very hard time leaving my Egypt. It's finally happening. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And I'm not talking about Christianity per se until I am talking about it. Thank you for your consideration of perception from a woman who's been through a lot, but also has been blessed a lot. Okay. Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians assaying to do were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were compassed about 7 days, which can be 7-year tribulations over and over and over again. I'm talking about a powerful YouTube I did yesterday, going on the same blog. It's actually going on 3, that YouTube. It spread enough information. But what I'm telling you here is that, reminding you that I'm actually reading the book as well. And the Tower of Babel is in there, as is the Jericho March. And I took literal gatekeeper walks. Okay? So there's a lot of work embodied in that for me personally, Kara. Okay? All right. So I'm trying to personalize this experience for you. Call if you will be respectful, despite what the Christians are doing right now, and the Catholics, because they're not respectful people. They're criminals. A lot of them are criminals. They're not outing their criminals. So it's just a cesspool in the buildings. Call the Bible, Buddha's writings, the Quran, call it legend. If you're an atheist or an agnostic, I'm begging you to do that, because we can be more unified and quit fighting amongst ourselves more. People that are not even in the churches anymore, where the cesspool is. I'm begging you. I'm not commanding you as an archangel. I'm not telling you what to do as a mama with 10 kids. But I'm also not going to ask, because I think this is very important. And it's not just my opinion. I've been through enough to know how we need to think. And how we need to think goes directly against what I was taught. And I'm 57. So if I'm talking to you, I'm being encouraged by my own understanding of a book that was crammed up my ass. Remember, I'm the gal who's actually going to take time and color the words of Jesus, because they don't mean what the Christian and Catholic churches are saying that they mean. They don't. Because they have too literal a view of things. And let me tell you this, I've been around enough Christians and had to put up with their bullshit enough to know, if they think that it's reality, they're very close-minded. They don't have any other realities, and they end up looking like idiots for very long lengths of time. They have no ability to use logic. If you don't have an ability to use logic to stand back with something and just see the obvious criminality or something like that, and the obvious beauty or something like that, if you don't have the ability to just, see the forest, the trees, the sky, and the flowers at your feet kind of perception, you're just a closed-minded person who's stubborn, and you're going to die bitter because you don't see beauty. Yes, we know the wickedness is there, but if you don't see the beauty, your balance is off, and it always is, and you affect your relationships. I don't want to hear the I'm on the autistic spectrum, poor me bullshit. That's an excuse. And I'm talking to 15-year-olds on. Wipe the snot off your nose. Get over yourself. Make some personal decisions towards your relationships that will grow your future, instead of just hiding behind a diagnosis. I'm not saying you shouldn't take the medication. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to therapists and psychiatrists and everything. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm talking about when you put your feet on the floor and look at your phone or your gaming, and you tack into your friends at school, or at this beautiful thing you get to do, or that one, while you mouth off at your parents. Feel sorry for yourself. I'm talking about that. You can make personal decisions about just positivity. That's what Moses did. in this legend. I don't care whether you believe the actual story or not. That is none of our business. This happened too long ago for us to even care. Okay? But we all know how to learn from a good story. So let's quit sidestepping real truths from any of the ancient books and start really living them in our minds and in our hearts. Thank you for your consideration. Verse 35, women received their dead raised to life again. I am a person who does that. I'm a woman, so. And others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection. That is true. Go read Voice of the Martyrs, Richard and Sabina Wombrand's books. That is in real life true. Holocaust deniers are criminals. Period. And others had trial of cruel mockings. I've had that issue. And imprisonment. I had, and scourgings. I have not been hurt physically. Yea, moreover, of bonds and imprisonment. Go read Richard and Sabina's books. Wombrand's books. Okay. They were stoned. They were sawn asunder. Were tempted. Were slain with the sword. Were tempted is a huge one in this day and age. There's a lot of temptation before us. Okay? So you're in this list if you're trying to fight the temptations of various things and do the right thing in your life for what you feel you should do. All right? They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins. Okay, what that means is, we go to Walmart and buy the cheapest thing a lot of times to make ends meet. That's all that means. Yeah. Being destitute, we have that. Afflicted, we have that. Tormented, we have that. Of whom the world was not worthy. The world's not worthy of you when you put your feet on the floor, even if you're struggling with looking at your phone or you're playing your games too much. I may get on to you a little bit, but nah, don't take it too far. That's what everybody else does. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I'm a mother of 10 children and I have a lot of love in my heart for you. And I prove it every day. So don't do that to me. Go look at my social media. You can see pretty flowers and stuff. Don't judge me so that you don't have to make some actions that might be just a little difficult in the short term, because habit pattern changes are hard to do. Okay? Of whom the world was not worthy, they wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise, God having provided some better things for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. That is a hard last two scriptures, and I just made a decision. I'm not going to read Revelation chapters 1 through 3, but in using Bible Gateway and linking it to the nuts and bolts final communication chapter, I just read it. You go read those words. I've read them enough, and like I said, I've had it all crammed up my ass for years, and I'm going to tell you this. Verses 39 and 40 of Hebrews chapter 11 is a very difficult concept. You're going to hate yourself, you're going to hate other people, and you're going to hate the unseen powers with those two verses. So do I. I think Buddhism is a good answer. Meditation. I just put some, I'll tell you what I did, because let me read them again. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith. See, we can't even think about having a good report, because that's what Christianity and Catholicism did to us. Scared the fuck out of us. We have to report to ourselves right now, my love life. If you can have friends and mentors that they report to you and you report to them, and y'all encourage each other to improve the hard side, and you rejoice with each other in the good moments, that you can have. That's give and take. and you're going to have it in your coffee shops, in your private homes, at work, teamwork kind of stuff. But I don't agree with teamwork in the home, and I don't agree with teamwork in friendships. No. Because we've got to have some zones where there's no competition. I was thinking to myself, because I don't play games with my family, and I'm beating myself up because it's good fellowship. You know how that goes. Why, Kara? Why do you always not play games? You really shy away from it. I'll tell you why. Because, and I've been saying it for years, but I didn't link up the why. It's because I don't compete in private relationships. That is the worst thing. Comparing yourself to one another in your private relationships will rip the relationships apart. It is a competitive spirit that is evil. It is evil, and it was allowed into many of our lives because of Christianity and Catholicism and their dogma that is controlling, bloodthirsty, money hungry, control freak. You know what I'm talking about. Now go smoke something or have a cup of tea. I'm going to have a second cup of coffee. Hydrate the rest of the day. Soak some beans for a good bean stew later. And I'm putting on Italian food if my family decides to be hungry later today. I'm going to link the other two. Now let me show you what I've done. Here's my kitty, who is my sister. She sees to me. Here's the Bible that I just read out of. I just put this on my under my ears. It's Tiger Balm. It's not. You can't read it there. At least I can't. Let me see. There it goes. Tiger Balm. And I just did that so it's heating it up. I'm heating it up and releasing mucus. I will be drinking some hot peppermint tea later. That will help. Listen to some good Buddhist music, but also some other things that from my past that are not Christian. I cannot listen to Christian music anymore. That just happened. It hurts. They've gone so far astray. I can't take any enjoyment out of it, and it's been a rough 2 weeks. I've tried to disconnect from them for many years, made a fool of myself to a few people who are still tearing me down at times. I don't have any answers for that. Some people just like to see us fall, don't they? They just don't like us. And that's where I think this verses 39 and 40 are. It's a hard road. But I want to encourage you that being a good person is always the best road, even with all your foibles and mistakes. People misrepresenting you is a real problem in this country, particularly with how easy it is to look good in church on Sunday, social media, 24/7, etc. So there's no easy answers here. I need to rest. And I'm thankful that I don't need to read out loud Revelation chapters 1 through 3. I will just call it read aloud by linking it in this article. Hebrews 11 was what I was supposed to read. And the reason for that, or parts of it, and the reason for that is the anti-Semitism is very, very bad right now. Oh my goddess. Anathema. Between the racism towards black people and the anti-Semitism in this country, between those two things, we've got hell well defined in the borders of fascist America, small a. I'm glad that my baby kitty is climbing down my lap and saying, "Come on, Mama, go have that tea and coffee you're talking about." Because it's hard to look at this stuff fresh. This is not the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His, her, our own mercies never come to an They are new every morning, new every morning. Great is my and your and unseen powers who are good. Faithfulness. Great is our faithfulness. How does that help my love life? Come with me there and cry your eyes out like I do when we got to talk about the bullshit. I hope you have a nice Wednesday. Wednesdays are hard for me. Think about it. How many churches, how many meetings, even in house church, they will do it. And it just makes me sick what they do.